the holy guardian angel. And in particular, we're going to be looking at it or something similar in Picatrix, which is a grimoire from the 11th, 12th century. So we're going to be looking at Picatrix today and talking just a little bit about the holy guardian angel. So this is something, Agrippa says that we each have three uh, angels. There is the angel that is closest to the divine and strives us upwards towards divine things. Then there is the angel of our nativity. And the angel of the nativity has to do with your birth chart, but also like your path in life and kind of the lessons you need to learn in life, and also deals with more material things. Then there's the angel of your profession. So this goes back to Agrippa. And before that, Picatrix talks about something a little bit similar. We've all heard of the Abramelin, which I have not done, the Abramelin working. But that is a grimoire all based around the holy guardian angel. Now, people need to be careful with the Abramelin. I have not worked with that grimoire. I know several people that have successfully worked through it. And the Abramelin, first of all, you call your holy guardian angel. This is in that grimoire. And then, after going through this process of calling your holy guardian angel, you invoke the kings of hell, and you bind all the demons and stuff to your will, and with your holy guardian angel. Then they have these magic squares that are basically used for demon magic and things like that. You're not supposed to work with the squares if you don't already have the knowledge and conversation of your holy guardian angel. So I've had people message me. Now this is just my opinion, but it's what people talk about in the grimoire community too. I've had people message me saying, "Oh, I was working with these magic squares and suddenly all this bad stuff's happening." And I'm like, "Can you please help me?" I'm like, "What were you doing exactly?" "Oh, I was working with the squares from Opera Melon." So, people can come to their own conclusion. I would not work with any of the magical squares from that text unless you've gone through the process. It's a similar thing in Palo Mayombe. Once you've been scratched or received your Rayamiento, then you have the ability to work with that group of spirits. But anyways, we're going off topic here. Socrates believed that he had a holy daimon or spirit that was his guardian and spoke to him and gave him warnings and things. Iamblichus talks about the personal daimon or spirit. So we have this in the classical Neoplatonic writings. We see it in a few grimoires. Sibley, Ebenezer Sibley, he has several methods of where in his opinion, you start off by getting your spirit. So, there are different approaches to this. My opinion is that you don't have to have this vivid encounter with your angel, which you get through the more intense grimoire workings. So there is a more hard line approach, and then there's a softer approach. I would recommend starting off with a soft approach. If you want to follow a particular grimoire, then I would follow it all the way through. But the soft approach is just lighting a candle to your guardian angel. You don't have to know its name yet or anything else. You don't have to, just start the relationship. Light a candle to your holy guardian angel, light a little incense. Just tell your holy guardian angel that you're becoming more open to working with the angel and that you would like to nurture the relationship. So I recommend everybody, if you can do it every day, if that's a tall order, every Sunday, In several traditions, the holy guardian angel is connected with the sun. Every Sunday, light a candle to your holy guardian angel, burn a little incense, give a glass of water to refresh your spirits, right? Glass of water, candle, a little incense, and just call upon your angel, your holy guardian angel, and just tell your angel that you want to be more open and to communicate, A lot of times when people hear the term spirit guides, they're like, oh, Lord, okay, here's a bunch of nonsense on the way. But like Espiritismo is a very interesting tradition. Spiritualism of Allan Kardec, which is blended with some Afro-Cuban types of things. Espiritismo is pretty interesting, I've thought about getting crowned in that. But today we're talking about Picatrix. Now, are all of these the same entity? Not necessarily. Like I said, Agrippa says that there's an angel that brings us closest to God, then there's the angel of the nativity, and then there is the angel of the profession. But today we're looking in Picatrix. I recommend everyone, once a week, every Sunday, light a candle to your holy guardian angel and tell it that, talk about your concerns, talk about tell it that you want to start listening. So I recommend everybody do that once a week. Now be careful of very vivid encounters. Look for the subtle. If things are very vivid, sometimes that could be a sign that there is a deceitful spirit. Not necessarily, but be careful with this, right? Because this is your guide and protector. You don't want anyone else jumping in and pretending to be your holy guardian angel. Also, illusion. Be careful of illusion. But today we're looking at a particular portion of Picatrix. We're going to Book 3, Chapter 6, on perfect nature. So if you have the book Picatrix, I have the Christopher Warnock and John Michael Greer, very typical. I have this version of Picatrix. Again, this is a 11th, 12th century grimoire. So from the Middle Ages, before the Renaissance. So we go to Book 3, Chapter 6. I just think this is pretty interesting. This is one particular approach of calling upon your personal, spirit or holy guardian angel or whatever. Book 3, Chapter 6, and some will disagree that that's what this is. That's fine. Diversity of opinion. But let's take a look at this ritual. Book 3, Chapter 6. In this book, it's page 149. The Magistry of Drawing Planetary Spirits with Natural Things and what a magic image is and how it can have this power. It says here, nothing in this science can be perfected. Oh, and today I'm going out of town. I'm going to go have a little fun, I'm going out of town today, but I'll be back tomorrow. All right. Nothing in this science can be perfected unless the virtue and disposition of the planets are inclined toward it by its own nature. This is what Aristotle says in the book Antimachus. Now, the footnote says this is Kitab al-Istamatis, or Liber Antimachus, one of many medieval magical texts assigned to Aristotle, which is quoted repeatedly in the following chapters. Now, where it says perfect nature fortifies those who philosophize and strengthens their intellect and their wisdom. so that in all their works they may quickly attain fulfillment. So you see here this idea that perfect nature fortifies those who philosophize and strengthens their intellect and their wisdom. The perfect nature is like a guide on the spiritual journey and magic, like a personal, like, helping you, you know. Everything belonging to this science, however, the wise concealed according to their degree, so that no one except a philosopher would be able to uncover it. They taught all knowledge and the subtleties of philosophy to their disciples before revealing to them the work of the spirits of perfect nature. They gave to the spirits of perfect nature these four names: Megius, Betzahwek, Vas des Net Nufineguides. I probably butchered that. Which are the four parts of the spirits of perfect nature named above. When those sages wished to speak about perfect nature, they called them by these four names, which signify the powers of perfect nature. Hermes Trismegistus, Hermes, however, said, "When I wish to understand and draw forth the secrets of the workings of the world and of its qualities, I put myself above a certain pit that was very deep and dark." So this kind of sounds like the opening of the Corpus Hermeticum, but in that case, it's just when I was, the senses were closed and, he was thinking into himself. But here he's like doing a ritual. Hermes, however, said, "When I wish to understand and draw forth the secrets of the workings of the world and of its qualities, I put myself above a certain pit that was very deep and dark, from which a certain impetuous wind blew. Nor was I able to see anything in the pit, on account of its obscurity. If I put a lit candle in it, straightway it was extinguished by the wind. Then there appeared to me in a dream." This kind of sounds like, a little bit like the Poimander, the beginning of the Corpus Hermeticum, where he has this vision. "Then there appeared to me in a dream a beautiful man of imperial authority, who spoke to me as follows: 'Put that lit candle in a lantern of glass, and the impetuosity of the wind will not extinguish it. You should lower the lantern into the pit, in the middle of which you should dig. Thence you shall draw forth an image, by which, when you have drawn it forth, the wind from the pit will be extinguished, and then you will be able to hold the light there. Then you should dig in the four corners of the pit, and from there you may draw out the secrets of the world and of perfect nature and its qualities. So from there you may draw out the secrets of the world and of perfect nature and its qualities and the generation of all things.' I asked him who he was, kind of like in the poem. I asked him, 'Who are you?' I asked him who he is, and he replied, 'I am perfect nature.'" The footnote here says what I said, basically. The footnote here says, this entire passage is from Christopher Warnock, I guess. "This entire passage is reminiscent of the Poimander, the first dialogue of the Corpus Hermeticum, in which Hermes has a conversation with a similar spiritual being. The ritual that follows is of great interest. It seems to bridge the gap between classical rituals for evoking a guardian spirit of the sort found in the Greco-Egyptian magical papyri and early modern rituals for the same purpose, such as the famous Abramelin working. Anyways, I asked him who he was, and he replied, 'I am perfect nature. If you wish to speak to me, call me by my proper name, and I will answer you.' I asked him by what name he was called, and he answered me, saying, 'By the four names mentioned above, I am named and called.' I asked him next what times I should call him, and how I should make the invocation. Now here comes the ritual, which apparently can be repeated every year. to strengthen your connection. Now, this ritual can be adapted. I don't think that this would be dangerous to adapt. You know, you get 4 pitchers of wine and then 4 offerings. This says one is filled with almond oil, another with sesame oil. But I think you can use probably other types of offerings. But anyways, he said, when the moon is in the 1st degree of Aries, that's all that it gives is a timing. When the moon is in the 1st degree of Aries. So the moon is in the 1st degree of Aries. He said, when the moon is in the 1st degree of Aries, be it by day or by night, whenever you wish, go into a house that is clean and splendid, in one corner of which you should put a raised table on the floor, toward the eastern side. So you have a clean house, the moon's in 1 degree of Aries. On the eastern side of the room, you have a table. Take 4 pitchers, each of which should have a capacity around 1 pint. Into one of them put cow's butter. Into the second, nut oil. Whatever kind of nut that is. Into one of them put cow's butter. Into the second, nut oil. Into the third, almond oil. And into the fourth, sesame oil. So these are offerings. Then take 4 more pitchers of the same size and pour wine into them. So I would recommend glass. So take 4 pitchers. Again, this is towards the east. The moon's in 1 degree of Aries. 4 pitchers. Into one, they're about a pint each. Put cow's butter. The second, nut oil. The third, almond oil. The fourth, sesame oil. Then take 4 more pitchers of the same size and pour wine into them. Apart from this, make a composition of nut oil, butter, honey, and sugar. Take the 8 pitchers and the mixture you have made and a glass vessel. Put this latter in the center of the table and put the composition you have made into it. So the composition of nut oil, butter, honey, and sugar. Next, put the 4 pitchers full of wine at the 4 quarters of the table, arranging them in the following way. The first pitcher in the east, the second pitcher in the west, the third pitcher in the south, the fourth pitcher in the north. Then take the other 4 pitchers. First put one full of almond oil in the east, then the one full of nut oil in the west. The one full of butter goes to the south, and the one full of sesame oil to the north. So these are like offerings. Then take a burning candle and put it into the midst of the table. Now this sounds like a lot of work, but that's the point. The point is to put a lot of effort and care into this working. The more effort you put into things, the more you get out of it. But then take 2, so there's a candle in the midst. Take 2 thuribles full of burning charcoal, into one of which you put frankincense and mastic, into the other aloes wood, which is not aloe vera, it's agar wood, aloes wood. When all this is done, stand upright on your feet facing east and invoke the four aforementioned names 7 times. So basically you have this table in the east, you have these pitchers of wine, pitchers of oil and butter, a mixture of butter and oil and honey and sugar. And then you have a candle and some incense, right? So you have like your table set up and your offering. Then you stand and do your invocation with the spoken word. When all this is done, stand upright on your feet facing east and invoke the 4 aforementioned names 7 times. So the Magius, Betzachwek, Vas, Vakdes, Nufene, Guedis, say that 7 times. When you have invoked them 7 times, speak as follows. I call to you, O strong, potent, and exalted Spirit, because from you proceed the knowledge of the wise, and the understanding of the intellect. And by your virtue the desires of the wise are accomplished, that you may respond to me, and be present with me, and unite with me your powers. Hold on, I hear a knock. Is that... I'm not expecting company. I am later, but hell no. You don't just go knocking on my door. I'm one of those people, you know? It might be Jehovah's Witnesses. Anyways. So it's this invocation. I heard a knock as I'm speaking, and maybe I shouldn't finish it. I'm a little superstitious. So, now, I think this could be adapted, but you want to put care into it, right? This is one method. I think a softer approach of every Sunday light a candle to your angel and ask to start, having that contact, which is separate from your birth angel, is a different thing, right? Your holy guardian angel. I think a softer approach, light a candle every Sunday, whatever, burn a little incense. Just tell it that you want to start hearing these promptings, right? But if you wanted a hardline approach, Picatrix book 3, chapter 6. You basically have a table in the east. You have your offerings in the four corners of the table. You have your offering in the center, this mixture, your candle, your incense. You stand and do this invocation. Okay, I call to you, O strong, potent, and exalted spirit, because you perceive the knowledge of the wise and the understanding of the intellect, and by your virtue the desires of the wise are accomplished, that you may respond to me and be present with me, and unite with me your powers and the virtues that accompany you, and strengthen me with your knowledge, so that I may understand that which I do not understand, and know that of which I'm ignorant, and see that which I do not see. So this is like an enlightening spirit, right? It's like a guru type of thing. And remove from me all blindness. Remove from me all blindness, turpitude, forgetfulness, and infirmity. And lift me up to the degree of the ancient sages, those indeed whose hearts were filled with knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and cognition. And affix the aforesaid things in my heart, so that my heart may be made like the hearts of the ancient sages. So there's like a truth-seeking, spirit. He then said, and when you have done the foregoing working in the afford way, you will see me. So, that's pretty interesting. And it says here, this working is described in the book Antimachus. The ancient sages used to perform this working every year. So this could be repeated every year. The ancient sages used to perform this working every year for the sake of their spirits, so that they might put in order their perfect natures. When this was done, they used to feast together with their friends on whatever on the table was nearest them. It says here, Aristotle said furthermore that each sage had his proper virtue infused into him by exalted spirits, by whose powers their senses were closed, their intellects opened, and sciences were revealed to them. This virtue was conjoined with the virtue of the planet ruling the radix of the nativity, so that the virtue thus co-created in them strengthened them and gave intelligence to them. The same ancient sages and kings used to do this working and pray this prayer with the four names given above, by which they helped themselves in their knowledge and understanding, and the increase of their business and possessions, and guarded themselves from the plots of their enemies, and did many other things. All right. So, it says over here, Socrates said that perfect nature is the sun of the wise, S-U-N. Socrates said that perfect nature is the sun, S-U-N, of the wise, and its root is light. Certain people inquired of Hermes, the sage, asking, Hermes Trismegistus, with what are science and philosophy joined? He answered, with perfect nature. They asked again, saying, what is the root of science and philosophy? He said, perfect nature. Then they questioned him more closely, what is the key by which science and philosophy are opened? He answered, perfect nature. Then they asked of him, what is perfect nature? He answered, perfect nature is the spirit of the philosopher or sage linked to the planet that governs him. So like what do you call it? Almuten? Almuten, or the ruling planet of your chart, the one with the most dignities, whatever is how I would interpret it. He answered, perfect nature is the spirit of the philosopher or sage linked to the planet that governs him. This is that which opens the closed palace of knowledge. So it's like a personal spirit. Thus it is clear from the foregoing that perfect nature acts in the sage or philosopher as a teacher toward a student, teaching the latter. So basically this is like a personal teacher and a protector. So it's pretty interesting, and that's Picatrix. So that's book 3, chapter 6. You can learn about perfect nature. It's really interesting, this kind of working. And also, if you study these types of texts, maybe you can come up with kind of your own approach to try to call upon your perfect nature or holy daimon. And it's interesting that you see a lot of similarities kind of in the style and the way of working that's similar to the Greek magical papyri. So, but today I'm going out of town, go have a little fun, and I'll be back on tomorrow. But that is this ritual that appears in Picatrix, the medieval grimoire. So it's pretty interesting stuff, Have you tried it? What do you think? I gotta be careful what I say. I've had my own interaction, with my holy guardian angel, but it's kind of private, but I know that it's real. In my opinion, it's a very real thing. And I think it's something that we can all gain something from. You don't have to have this major working and this, dawning of light, and you're having this vivid, and you could, right? Also, you can begin with a softer approach. Like I said, light a candle once a week, call upon your holy guardian angel, tell it that you want to start working with it, and be careful not to take whatever messages you receive or vivid encounters as the angel. It could be deceptive spirits, and it could also be illusion. So you have to be careful, okay? Because when you start doing that, what if you got a poltergeist in the house? It's going to start pretending, yeah, I'm going to play that role, You got to be careful. But as we walk upon the path of magic, we know what we're getting involved in, It's not for the faint of heart. But anyways, that is a ritual for invoking perfect nature, which I would see as pretty much, same thing, like the holy guardian angel. It instructs you, it teaches you, it's like your personal guru, it reveals sciences, and then also it protects you, and it helps you in material things as well, and kind of guides and protects you, a protective and guardian spirit. So that's it for today, y'all. This is a video for Patreon. I really appreciate all of y'all that support my channel. This makes it where I can put all of my focus on my videos. And sometimes it'll be every other day, you know, like this. And then sometimes I'll do 2 videos a day. In that case, one will be Patreon, one for the public. So I'll also do it that way as well, you know, because I plan to put out all the content that I can. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm putting my focus on. So this is what I'm doing. I'm putting all of my eggs and all of my work, you know, in this channel and building it up. So I really authentically appreciate y'all. Y'all are the ones making this possible. So anyways, that's a video for Patreon. And if you're watching this a year later or more, this will be out to the public. So my Patreon videos, you know, it's just that people want up to date with the latest thing. You know what I mean? But that way knowledge isn't being hid from anyone, you know. After a year, a good portion of these at least will be released. But for right now, it's private, you know. Little privacy between us. Anyways, that's it for today. And I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. And I'll see y'all in the next video.